In this video, I'll be talking about center of mass. So, let's say we have 2 points put on a balance scale, and let's say we can vary where to put this uh, lever, right? And let's say this is of mass m1, a point of mass m1. This is a point of mass m2, and this scale rod is weightless. Well, then we want to find out where to put this lever so that this rod balances. So a law of moments tells us that if this is the distance, d1 is the distance between the point and this lever, and d2 is the distance between m2 and this lever, then this will balance out when m1 d1 is equal to m2 d2. All right. So we can give coordinates to these point masses. Let's say m1 is at coordinate x equal to x1, and m2 is at the coordinate x is equal to x2. And let's say that this lever has coordinate x. In that case, uh, m1 times, so d1 is actually equal to x minus x1, and d2 is equal to x2 minus x. So that means x is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 by m1 plus m2. So this is the coordinate of the center of mass. So the idea is that we can imagine this whole system to be the mass of this whole system to be concentrated at the center of mass. So it's like if you are imagining one particle which has mass m1 plus m2, then it has to be at this point. At this point m1 x1 plus m2 x2 by m1 plus m2. uh, so instead of 2 points we can have one single point, which is at x is equal to the coordinate of center of mass. All right. So which has mass m1 plus m2. So this is the concept of center of mass. You want to replace all these massive particles with just one point mass. All right. So what if we have finite number of what if n greater than 2? So that means we don't have two masses, we have more than two masses. So let's say you are at in only in one dimensional case. Let's say you have m1 mass at point x1, you have m2 mass at point x2, and so on, mn mass at point xn. Then the coordinate of the center of mass is given as m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus mn xn by x1 plus m1 plus m2 plus mn. So this is the coordinate of center of mass of this system. So this means that instead of everything, all these finite masses, you can just assume the mass to be placed at the mass m1 plus mn to be placed at the coordinate of the center of mass. So this system is physically equivalent to this system. All right. So what if what if the masses are not point masses? So let's say that you are in x-axis, and there is a rod. uh, there is a rod. Well, if the density of this rod were to be constant, then we know that the center of mass would be in the center of this rod. But what if that is not the case? uh, if the rod has a variable density, well then what we want to do is we want to generalize this formula for this rod. And since there are we want to divide this, so as we did it in the problem of pumping water, we want to divide it into small strips. So let's say you have a rod like this, which is at the point x equal to a to x equal to b, and which has variable density rho of x. What I'll do is I'll take a small strip at a point x of width dx. All right. Then, since this dx is very small, so that means the row function rho of x can be assumed to be constant in this small part. All right. So that means the mass of this small chunk is, since this is like a small strip uh, whose length is dx, and since rho of x can be assumed to be constant in this, we know that the mass of this small chunk will be rho of x dx. All right. And now the center of mass of this small chunk will of course be at dx, will be at the coordinate of this small chunk. Okay, the coordinate of small chunk is can be assumed to be just x, because like this is very small, so x plus dx is nothing but x, right? So what we want to do is we know that for finite cases, the coordinate of center of mass is this mn xn by m1 plus m2 plus mn. So, what we have done is we have found out a small chunk, and its mass is rho of x dx. All right, and the coordinate of this small chunk is x. So this can be like this case can be generalized here. So what we want is we want to sum over this small masses, rho of x. We want to sum over the small masses, and they are placed at the coordinate x by, we want to take the sum of all the masses. So but since these are very small, instead of summing we will do integration. So this will be like x dm by integration of dm, but we found out that dm is rho of x dx. So this is equal to x rho of x dx, x rho of x dx by integration rho of x dx from x equal to a to x equal to b, because the rod was placed from x equal to a to x equal to b. So this is the formula for the center of mass of a rod for variable density. Right. So let's look at an example. Let's say you have three point masses, at each at point x equal to -1 with mass 2, a point at x equal to 1 with mass 3, and at point x equal to 2 with mass 1. And we want to find out center of mass of this system of three particles. Well, then the center of mass, the coordinate of center of mass, since this is a finite case, we know that it will be m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So the mass of first particle is 2. The coordinate, its coordinate is -1. The mass of second particle is 3, its coordinate is 1. The mass of third particle is 1, its coordinate is uh, 2. and I want to divide by the total mass which is 2 plus 3 plus 1. So this is equal to 3 plus 2 5 minus 2 3 by 6 is half. So that means the coordinate of center of mass is x equal to half. So that means this system can be replaced with just a point mass at the point x equal to half. So notice that the center of mass is closest to where the system is most massive. So it is closest. So since 3 is the most is the particle with the maximum mass, the center of mass will be closest to that point. So that means x equal to half is in fact close to 1 than all the others. It of course depends on the distance, but that is what is generally true. All right, so we have another question. Uh, so we want to find out the center of mass of this rod with variable density e to the power 3x. So from the formula, uh, we know that the coordinate of the center of mass is nothing but integration a to b x rho of x dx by integration a to b rho of x dx. So we want to do two integrals, and in the question a is equal to 0, b is equal to 1, and rho of x is equal to e to the power 3x. So we want to do this integral. Right, so first we want to do x e to the power 3x dx from 0 to 1. So how do we integrate this function? As you can see, we want to use this is an exponential function and this is an algebraic function. So we want to use integration by parts. So the integration by parts formula states that integration of f prime g, integration of f g prime is equal to f times g minus integration of f g prime, f prime g dx. Yep. And if we have limits here a to b, then we want to evaluate this at a and b, and limits here as a and b, right? So in order to find out f and g, we want to use the Lie rule. So e to the power 3x is exponential and x is algebraic. So that means in this rule a comes first. So that means we will have to take f is equal to x and g prime of x is equal to e to the power 3x in this formula. So that means the derivative of f is equal to 1, and we want to find out g of x. Remember that e to the power 3x is g prime of x, and we need g of x in the formula everywhere. So g of x is nothing but the integration of e to the power 3x. So this is equal to e to the power 3x by 3. Then integration f g prime dx from 0 to 1 is equal to x e to the power 3x dx 0 to 1 is equal to from the formula f times g. So this is x e to the power 3x by 3, and we want to evaluate at 0 and 1 minus integrating 0 to 1. So f prime is 1 and g is e to the power 3x by 3. So this is equal to, okay, we'll evaluate at 1. Then we'll substitute x equal to 1 in this, we'll get 1 e to the power 3 by 3. So this is just e to the power 3, and when you substitute 0, we'll get 0 minus well, this function, the integration of e to the power 3x is e to the power 3x by 3. So you'll get e to the power 3x by 9 here, and we want to evaluate at 0 and 1. So this is equal to e cube by 3 minus, when you substitute 0 1 here, we'll get e to the power 3 by 9, and when we substitute 0 here, we'll get 1 by 9. So this is equal to 2 e to the power 3 by 9 minus 1 by 9. So this is the integration of the numerator in the formula for coordinate of center of mass. So this is integration x rho x dx. We want to find out integration rho of x dx from a to b, which is the total mass. So this is equal to integration from 0 to 1 e to the power 3x dx. So this is e to the power the 3x by 3 from 0 to 1. So this is equal to e to the power 3 by 3 minus 1 by 3. Alright, so the x coordinate of the center of mass is going to be the ratio of these two answers. So this is 2 e to the power 3 by 9 minus 1 by 9 by e to the power 3 minus 1 by 3. So this is equal to 3 times 2eq minus 1. Oh, sorry, it's going to be 2eq minus 1 by 3 times eq minus 1. So this is the coordinate of the center of mass, which is our final answer. So let's talk about a two-dimensional case. So let's assume that we have some point masses, n many point masses, each with mass m1, m2, and so on up to mn, and whose coordinates are so these point masses are kept at coordinates x1, y1, x2, y2, and so on up to xn, yn. Well, then the center of mass of this system, if it has coordinate x comma y, so it is a two-dimensional case, so there will be two coordinates for the center of mass. Then the x coordinate is given as m1 x1 plus m2 x2 and so on up to mn xn by m1 plus m2 and so on by total mass. So this is the total mass, the denominator. And similarly for the y coordinate, so it is just like the one dimensional case, but you have to find out two the you have to apply this formula twice to find both the coordinates of the center of mass, the x coordinate and the y coordinate. Then in that case, the system is just the same as a point mass with mass m1 plus m2 and so on up to mn, with coordinates with the coordinate as the coordinate of the center of mass. This can be assumed to be this one. All right. So now let's look at a complicated example. So maybe let's say that you have a strip, a metal strip, which is bounded above by the function y is equal to f of x, and bounded below by the function y is equal to g of x. Now this strip is made up of a metal with uniform density rho. So that means the mass is not varying, but the shape of this strip is kind of irregular. It is bounded above by f of x and bounded below by g of x. Then we want to find out the center of mass of this strip. Right, so we want to find out the center of mass of this strip. So yep, then so this is f of x and this is g of x, and you are between x equal to a to x equal to b. Well, then we do the same method as we did earlier. We go at a point at a distance x from the origin. We take a small strip of length dx. Then this small strip has mass. Mass of the small strip is, well, since the density is uniform, and this can be assumed to be a rectangle, because like dx is very small, then this can be assumed to be a rectangle. And its length is the difference between, so since you are at a point f, at a point x, this point is x comma f, g of x, and this point is x comma f of x. All right, then the mass of this small strip can be assumed to be rho times rho times rho times the length into breadth. So length is the difference between these heights, f of x minus g of x, and the breadth is, well, it's dx, because dx is very small. Then this is the mass of the small strip. Let's say this is equal to dm. All right, and now what is the center of mass of the small strip? Well, then the center of mass of the small strip, it will be at the center of this strip, right? Because this is of uniform density. So that means this the x coordinate of x coordinate, well, the x coordinate will be x, because this whole strip can be assumed to be like a single line. Then the x coordinate will be x, and the y coordinate will be the midpoint of this line segment. So this will, the y coordinate will be f of x plus g of x by 2. This is the y coordinate of the center of mass of this strip. So it is x comma f of x plus g of x by 2. All right. So now, and when we cover this from x equal to a to x equal to b, this can be like assumed to be something like this, where each strip has a center of mass at x comma f of x plus g of x by 2. So now we are just taking the points containing the center of mass of all these strips. So it will be like this single curve in between this strip, and at each point we are at x comma f of x plus g of x by 2, and it has mass. The mass of each single point is rho dm. It is dm. So now this is just like the finite case, but with so many, with infinitely many point masses. So the which means we know that the x coordinate of center of mass for a finite case is m1 x1 plus mn xn by m1 plus m2 plus mn. So like this is like summation mixi by summation mi. So when we are dealing with infinite case, this summation can be interchanged with integration, and instead of mi we have very small masses dmi dm, and instead of x, well, for x we want the x coordinate of this center of mass points, which is x, and here we have integration dm. So the x coordinate is, and well, we have found out what is the value of dm, right? It is rho times f of x minus g of x dx. So the center of mass of the x coordinate of the center of mass will be x times rho into f of x minus g of x dx by and the total mass will be well, it will be rho times f of x minus g of x dx. Since this is like dm, so we want to integrate dm. So this is the x coordinate of the center of mass. And now let's look at the y coordinate. So as I said, the y coordinate of each of these point masses is f of x plus g of x by 2. And we know from our formula for finite cases, this is summation mi yi by summation mi. So in our case, this can just be interchanged with integration. So this will be integration rho times the y coordinate of y coordinate of y dm integration dm. And now the y coordinate of each of this is f of x plus g of x by 2. So this is f of x plus g of x by 2, and dm is rho times f of x minus g of x dx from a to b. Well, this is from a to b by integration of the point masses. So which is the total mass, and we know that dm is rho times f of x minus g of x dx. So this is integration a to b rho times f of x minus g of x dx. So if you simplify this, like this is f of x plus g of x and this is f of x minus g of x, so we'll use the formula a plus b times a minus b is equal to a square minus b square. And then what we have is the x coordinate of the center of mass will be integration x time rho x f of x minus g of x dx by uh, rho times f of x minus g of x dx. And the y coordinate of the center of mass will be integration a to b rho by 2 uh, f of x whole squared minus g of x whole squared dx by a to b rho times f of x minus g of x dx. So this is the coordinate of center of mass. But remember that this is only true when the mass is distributed uniformly in this in the strip. All right. So now let's look at an example. So this is what you may have to remember. And if you can't remember this, you can just go through the derivation and try to apply it for yourself in the problem. Right. So let's look at this example. So we have a semicircular disc which looks like this, and it has radius 3. So that means this part of the disk has equation y equal to root 9 minus x square, and x varies from minus 3 to 3. And this function is well, it's a 0 function, which means it is y equal to 0. And now we want to find out the center of mass of this disk. So you can sometimes use symmetry to argue. So we know that this disk is symmetric about the y-axis, right? So that means which means the center of mass has to lie somewhere in the y-axis. So that means the x coordinate of the center of mass is 0, uh, because it has to lie on the y-axis using symmetry. And so all we need to do is find out the y coordinate of the center of mass. So we know that the formula for the y coordinate of the center of mass is going to be integration a to b rho by 2 f of x whole square minus g of x whole square dx by integration a to b rho f of x minus g of x dx. Right. And so as you remember, in the derivation, this was y is equal to f of x and this was y is equal to g of x. So in our case, f of x will be the equation for this, which is given to be root 9 minus x square. So f of x is square root 9 minus x square. And a is minus 3 and b is 3. So that is because like this was a and this was b, so a is minus 3 and b is equal to 3. And g of x is this line, y is equal to 0, the x axis. G of x is g of x is equal to 0. So now we want to substitute these values in this formula. So So first we will integrate the numerator. So let's say I1. So we want to go from minus 3 to 3. I'm substituting all these values. So this is rho by 2 and f of x whole square. So f of x is 9 minus x square root 9 minus x square. So this is 9 minus x square whole square minus 0 square dx. So well, this is equal to minus 3 to 3 rho by 2 and 9 minus x square dx. So rho by 2 is a constant, so we can bring it out of this integration. So this is 9 minus x square dx from minus 3 to 3, and the integration of 9 is 9x, and the integration of x square is x cubed by 3. So this is equal to rho by 2 9 times 3 minus minus 3, so this is 6 minus 3 cube minus minus 3 cube by 3. So this is equal to rho by 2 9 6 are 54 minus 27 plus 27 54 by 3. So this is equal to rho by 2 2 times 54 by 3. So 327, so this is 27 rho. Oops, sorry. And this is 18. This is 18 rho. Yep, this is 18 row. All right. So and now the second integral is well, it is equal to integrating minus 3 to 3 rho times f of x minus g of x dx. So this is minus 3 to 3 square root 9 minus x square dx. So we know that we need to use x is equal to sine theta here, 3 sine theta uh, as the substitution, and then which means theta is equal to sine inverse x by 3, and dx is equal to 3 cos theta d theta. So I will just quickly change these integrals. You have sine inverse minus 1 and sine inverse 1, and rho square root 9 minus 9 sin square theta is 3 times cos theta, and dx is, well, it's cos theta d theta. So this is equal to sin inverse minus 1 is minus pi by 2, and sin inverse 1 is pi by 2. So this is 3 rho cos square theta d theta, and you can use the double angle formula for cos theta, and you'll get the final answer to be rho times 9 pi by 2. So how I guess this answer? Well, we know that the total mass of this disk will be equal to so the denominator in this formula is nothing but the total mass of this, right? Because that is how we got it. The y coordinate was integration dm, so which is like the total mass of this strip. And we know that since the density is uniform, the total mass of this strip will be rho times the area of this semicircle, so disk. So this is going to be rho times pi r square by 2. So this will be 9 rho pi by 2. So you can also do this by integrating, but this is an easier method, right? So now, so as I said, the x coordinate of the center of mass is 0, and the y coordinate of the center of mass is the ratio of I1 and I2, which is equal to 18 rho by 9 pi rho by 2. So this is equal to 4 rho by pi rho. So this is equal to 4 by pi. So this is our final answer. The coordinates of center of mass is 0 comma 4 by pi. Right, so let's look at another example. We want to find out the center of mass of this function y is equal to sine x, and x goes from 0 to pi. So this is a disk, and this function is y is equal to sine x, and this is y is equal to 0. So now f of x is sine x, and g of x is 0, and a is 0, and b is equal to pi. So what we want to do is we want to find out the center of mass. Then the x coordinate of center of mass is going to be integration x times. All right, we don't need to find out the x coordinate of the center of mass, because you always look for symmetry in these objects. So we know that if I take this x is equal to pi by 2, then this function is this disk is sorry, this sheet is symmetric about the line x is equal to pi by 2. So that means the center of mass will lie somewhere in on this axis. We just need to find out what is the y coordinate of the center of mass. So that means x is equal to pi by 2 is the coordinate of x coordinate of center of mass. So all we need to do is find out the y coordinate of the center of mass, and we know that the formula for that is rho by 2 f of x whole squared minus g of x whole squared dx by the area of this. So the area is given as rho times f of x minus g of x dx from a to b. All right, so uh, time to do the numerator. So I'll call it I1, and this is equal to 0 to pi rho by 2 f of x square minus g of x square. So this is sine square x minus 0 square dx. So this is equal to 0 to pi. Rho by 2 can be brought out of this integral being a constant. This is sine square x dx. So you want to integrate 0 to pi rho by 2 sine square x dx. So how to integrate sine square x? This is an even power of sine, so we'll use a double angle formula, which says that sine square x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x by 2. So this is equal to rho by 4 integration 0 to pi 1 minus cos 2x dx. So this is equal to rho by 4 times x from 0 to pi minus sine 2x by 2. So this is equal to rho by 4 times pi minus 0 is pi minus sine 2 pi is 0 and sine 0 is 0, so this is 0. This is equal to rho times pi by 4. Alright, so and for integration 2, the integration in the denominator, we want to find out 0 to pi rho times f of x minus g of x dx. So this is equal to 0 to pi rho times, well, f of x is sine x and g of x is 0. So this is just rho times sine x dx. So this is equal to rho times integration 0 to pi sine x dx, and this is equal to the integration of sine x is minus cos x from 0 to pi. So this is equal to rho times cos pi is minus 1. So you have 1 minus cos 0 is 1. So this is going to minus 1. So this is going to 1 minus minus 1. So this is equal to 2 rho. Alright, and now the y coordinate of the center of mass is going to be the ratio of these two integrals. So this is equal to rho times pi by 4 by 2 rho. So rows get cancelled and we have pi by 8. And as we have already argued using symmetry, the x coordinate of center of mass is going to be pi by 2. So that means the center of mass is at pi by 2 comma pi by 8. So this is our final answer.